Mr. President, members, we have a very special guest with us here on the Senate floor today, Riley Gaines. Let's all welcome her to the Texas Senate. Riley Gaines is an American hero. She has been fighting for fairness in women's sports and opportunity for women. And look, as a dad to a 3-year-old, and for her and for all the daughters of this great state and nation, thank you. Thank you for fighting for them. Thank you for fighting for fairness and for opportunity. And we all know, look, too many generations of women have fought too hard for that opportunity to compete, to just have it be thrown away. And one day, a man showed up, and the man showed up in the women's locker room at the University of Kentucky, at your school. And later on that day, a man competed in the women's swimming tournament. And what happened? He stole victory from you. He stole opportunity from you. He stole fairness from you. And he actually made a mockery of Title IX. And at that point, you could have just walked away. You could have done what was easy. You wanted to go to dental school, I think. That had always been in your plans, a calling. But you decided to do the hard thing. Take the hard path. And that was to go fight for what's right and realize that calling and finally kick men out of women's college sports in Texas. And you lit a fire under this entire nation. And last session, we passed Senate Bill 15, the Save Women's Sports Act. And I saw you there the other day when President Trump signed that executive order protecting the right for women to fairly compete in college sports for this entire nation. So thank you. You are an American hero. Thank you for fighting for fairness and opportunity and for defeating those that wanted to take it away. So thank you and God bless you.
Senator Betancourt. What purpose? You're not speaking, Senator Betancourt? Okay, I called the order, but that's okay. Okay, I decide the order, Senator Betancourt. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason why I was going to speak after my colleague, really, is that in 2017, she passed a bill to take a principled stand of having no men in women's sports. And it was quite the scene last decade. So what you went through when you took a stand is what we've been trying to accomplish here in the Texas Senate, as well as nationally, because we're trying to recognize the obvious. You're a champion swimmer in your own right. And there's no reason for you to be compared to a man that has a biological advantage that can't be overcome. But more importantly, we're fighting for Title IX. We're fighting for the whole idea that women can compete professionally and be measured that way. So I know this has been rough because I saw what happened to my colleague, and I know how difficult it's been. But you have to know that the American people are dramatically in your favor. And they're dramatically in the favor of common sense and dramatically in favor of what the country wants, which is no men in women's sports. But more importantly, I know you've had to stand up and fight for that. And you have our great respect. And as Senator Middleton has said, the admiration of the country for doing so. So God bless you.
Thank you, Senator Betancourt. I was going to allow others wanted to speak, to allow Lois to close since she's been in this fight with me since 2017.
I bow to the greater wisdom of the president.
Okay. Senator Hinojosa from Nueces.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I want to thank Senator Middleton for recognizing Riley Gaines and her steadfast commitment to fairness in women's sports. I've always believed that women and girls deserve a level playing field. And Ms. Gaines has been a strong and courageous advocate for protecting the integrity of women's sports. Her dedication to this cause and the strength that it takes to be on the forefront of this effort is truly inspiring. I stand with her in the fight for ensuring female athletes never have to compete against biological males, and that women and girls have the opportunities and fairness that they worked so hard to achieve. Ms. Gaines, on behalf of myself, my wife, our 17-year-old daughter in high school, and for all of the people in District 27 who thought this issue was such a big issue for us, Thank you so much for your advocacy and for championing this issue and for all that you've done for women's sports and young women.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hagenboe, speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Senator Middleton. Riley, welcome to our Capitol here. I've got a chance to meet you and hear you speak a couple times in North Texas. We had a good talk one time, and you took a picture with me. I took it back and shared it with my two granddaughters, 12 and 8-year-old granddaughters, and talked to them about how you had fought for them for their sports, but also the example you set as a woman for fighting what's right. You're a truly impressive fighter for what's right. And in sports, the principles are simple. We train, we compete, and God willing, we win. All sports should be about hard work, dedication, and fair competition. Riley, you didn't back down from the fight for fairness for sports. You stood up. Today, I'm proud to stand with you. In Texas, we protect women's sports, women's achievements, and women's opportunities. Thank you, Riley, for your relentless fight to protect women's sports in Texas and across the nation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Campbell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I'm not a swimmer, wasn't an athlete. I don't even think I was chosen for the mascot. But you represent your sport well. But what you've done is really more than just fight for your sport, for swimming. You've done more than just fight for women. What you've done is proved a role model that there was something wrong in our nation that needed to be set right. A reset of a moral compass. You saw that, and you put the passion that you put into your sport to set that wrong right. That makes you not only a great role model, but the perfect person for young people and even older people to look to, to stand and fight, if you will, become victorious for an issue that they'll put all their strength behind. You symbolize that. You did that. And we thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Campbell. Senator Paxton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, Riley. We're so glad that you're here. And, as a former student athlete myself in high school, the mom of 3 student athletes in high school, and 2 of those daughters, they still compete competitively in running. This matters at the personal level for me, for my family. I've got 2 little granddaughters now, and your courageous example has made a better future for them. And I really just want to commend you, Riley, for taking an injustice, something that was so unfair that happened to you. You didn't have any control over it, the thing that happened to you. But you took it and you've turned it into something good, something strong. And it reminds me of Romans 8:28. You've taken something, no matter what it is that's happened to you, because you know that God means it for good, not just in your life, but because of how you've handled it in the lives of so many. We'll never even be able to count them. So thanks for being here today. Thanks what you will leave to do when you walk out of this chamber today, and God bless you and your family. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hall, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Riley, there's not much I can add to what these folks have said. They're all dead on. You know, you and I have been at a number of events together, and I've had the opportunity to observe you, not when you were on the stage, but just handling yourself. And then I have followed a lot that has been written, and I can tell you, if we had more people your age in this country with the courage and the intelligence that you've mixed together to stand for what is right, we wouldn't have many problems left in this country. We wouldn't have to be doing some of the things we have to do to pass laws, because it just blows my mind that we have to pass a law to keep boys out of girls' bathrooms, or the common sense of just saying, we went through a tremendous amount of effort to set up girls' sports so they didn't have to compete with boys, and then have it change because a few people decided that's what they wanted to do. And it took people like you to stand up and say, no, this is wrong. It's got to stop, to get the attention so that we did this. And I just say, God bless you for what you're doing. Never let up, never back down, and never, never, never quit. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Colcourse, to close. We started this fight in 2017. Been a long ride and successful finally in the last sessions, and I want you to close on it.
Mr. President, thank you. Riley, before I say thank you to you, I have to say thank you to Governor Patrick and so many of the members that sat through a 22-hour hearing on a bill that we just thought was common sense. I think you were still in high school at the time in 2017. And Mr. President, I would go home to my home district and people would literally look at me and say, now that's a solution looking for a problem. But it wasn't, because we saw the beginnings of that in Houston, Texas, when pastors there stood up to the mayor then and said, no, we want privacy for our women in their private spaces. And then with the Dear Colleague letter in 2016 from President Obama, it really started something. And I could see as a former college athlete where this was going to end up. And I said on the floor when I laid out Senate Bill 6 that Title IX, when I was a little bitty girl, I was about 6 years old, allowed me to have a sports career. And it was, as Senator Hall said, gave us a platform where women's sports began to flourish in our hometowns, in our high schools, and then, of course, in our colleges. One of the things that I have to say as I end this is, what y'all don't know is that Riley Gaines gave up what would be a very successful career. Because when she was about to graduate from UK, University of Kentucky, she had applied to dental schools. They're very hard to get into. And she was going to, as you said in one of your speeches, I was blessed by the Lord. I kind of have some intelligence, and I thought, well, this is what I'm going to do. And you came to a fork in the road. And you said, I can kind of go off and become a dentist and have a successful career, or I can take a stand. Thank the good Lord that you took the stand and you took the path less traveled. So you heard the words courageous, courage. The definition of courage is this: the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulty, danger, pain, etc., without fear, semicolon, bravery. I think that says it all. That's the definition of Riley Gaines. And as my colleagues have said, Senator Betancourt, thank you for reminding us of those tough days. It was really hard, and it took courage. Riley Gaines, you are creating a generation of young women like Lois Kate that said, if Riley Gaines can do it, Mom, I can do it too. I'm going to speak out. God bless you. God bless what you do. And I'm very grateful to President Trump when he signed that executive order, Mr. President. I think I sent you the picture. And it was a moment to pause and to say that little girls all over this nation get to compete in the sport of their choice and to flourish. Thank you.
I remember very well when you and I got on a call with the NCAA.
Yes.
And they blew us off.
They did.
And there's still some loopholes in there, they're playing tricks, aren't they, Riley? But people don't know what she's been through. It's been really a tough run, and probably that issue that you fought for may have actually changed a national election. I know it changed a local election because it was common sense. Protect women in their private spaces and protect women in sports. So Riley, thank you. You have the Texas spirit, and you have the Texas courage. Members, any objection to the resolution? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. Thank you, Senator Middleton, for bringing it.